So I brought out our parts. Remember, I put them in bags. And this has all been cleaned out, but I brought a hose over. Make sure we don't have any residual dirt or anything. Always blow out your mounting bolts. If you trap moisture in there, you could crack when you tighten it up. So we need a Phillips screwdriver. And where is it here? I looked up the torque spec and I didn't find it. But the same size bolts in the rocker cover is 52 inch-pounds, so that's what we're going to do. And so we need the gasket. And I'm going to open these kind of neat because it'll give me part numbers in the future, you know, instead of destroy them. I need that razor blade. I got to get organized, you know. Throw our parts back for now. That's because if you don't get back to your project and you got a bucket of bolts, you got to figure out what goes where and, you know, the memory game. I like to label them. Okay, so this is the reed cover, gasket number, country of origin, U.S. Wow. I waited a week for this and I didn't know if I ordered it right. And I actually called the guy and he said, when he finally answered, he said, well, if I look up the part, I'm going to charge you $10. That was kind of strange. So I said, all right, I'll do it online. And I said, can you tell me if the rebuild kit is the right one? And he said, yes. Boy, it's a nice thick gasket. And it's the same design as the original. And this one's probably still good, but we're going to put no. So, let's see here. I got a paper somewhere here. It shows you what you get with a kit. And so we got, it's called a re-ring. And the only thing I found online other than aftermarket parts was this Pat Small Engines. I don't know anything about him. East Bethel, Minnesota. So we got a re-ring kit, piston rings, muffler, carburetor, gasket insulator. Tiger's still in here. We got manifold, breather, rocker case, and head gaskets, valve seal, O-ring, oil filter. That's that square thing. O-rings, crank, and both crank seals. So kind of pricey. I'm not sure why so much for this, but I didn't want to go with the aftermarket, which is about half the price. So what I want to do is take the reed. It's a crankcase breather. All it does is flap up and down. I know somebody that does that. Flap up and down. We take that, we'll go and wipe it off. I know you want to go out, Tiger, but you can't. You're punished. You got to stay away from the road. It's got a circle mark right here, and it was hitting all the way around. But I have seen on forums where they flip these over if they look bent. This does not. I'm going to flip it over anyway. Put that in there. Then we've got our cover thing, bracket. And it's got a, 15-degree bend on it. Allows that to bend up that far with stoppers. And stainless steel so it won't stick to anything magnetic. Let's see if we can get it in there. Sure. And then I didn't see any instructions on this portion, but I guess just tighten it up, and it's a Phillips screw. So how tight can you get it? Don't strip it. But if you allow it to move, it seems like they've done the machining better to where this wouldn't do that, but just get it so the sides aren't rubbing. And then tighten her up. Straighten it up just a little. Easy screwdriver. Move that over, Biscuit. Right, Tiger? His brother's been going outside because he mines. He stays in the yard. We got a big yard. You don't have to go down the road. Get that snug. Then our gasket, words up this way. And our cover, we clean that up. Oh, gee, I'm forgetting. You didn't tell me, guys. I got out the reed box. Where is it? The bag here. We've got this. I think they have an updated kit, but I don't know that on lawnmowers. I know they do on motorcycles, but this one has like an oil baffle in it. Don't want to forget putting that in there. And this thing, blow it off too, make sure. We'll take this part, and I believe it only fits in one way anyway. It goes down under here and just sits there. And the gasket goes down and touches that portion. And our cover looks pretty good. And these, they can get warped, that's my understanding, and then they leak. And this did not have a leak there. And so I'm going to eyeball it. And it looks pretty straight. So I'm going to, it's heavy. That's thick. I'm going to get a straight edge and check this. I'm going to use something simple. Just the back side of this. I want to just check for any air gaps. See, there's no warp in that. Nothing. So, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to let you back in the house if you can't mind. You don't want to stay out here and play? You can run upstairs. Alright, so now we put our gasket in there. And everything's in, clean. Yeah, you're vocal. This part goes down. You can see the screw heads. I'm not going to put any goop on it. These look like 10 millimeter. I should have washed these. I didn't wash the bolts up. Don't matter. Gonna finger tight them. Finger start them. And if I recall, there was a clip on this one, but it's not in our parts bucket, so I'll go back and review the picture, and if I have to replace something, I'll take it back off. I don't see a clip. It might have been a twisty tie around these probably to hold the wire in place for the stator, right? Something. I can't remember. Coil wire or something. So I think I'll get the ratchet over here in a 10 mil, zip these down a little bit, and then we're going to do about 52 inch-pounds. That's about the same as the valve cover. And what do we got on it now? We got, well, we'll use this gun, I guess. We got a 12 mil. Replace it with a 10. And then I have other projects I wanted to do, but this is kind of getting me excited to get this put together. So I got this. Now where's the battery? Here's a little battery. Just run these down. Probably ought to do a crisscross. So now, use this cheapo torque wrench, 50, 40, 45, 52, 10 mil. Listen for a clicky. If you can do without an extension is good. There's one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 2, 4, 6. Now we'll go around and just check them once more. There we go. Reed cover, gasket, finished. Now we're going to do the seal while we're here so we can flip it over. You're annoying. I'm going to have to switch you in. You're not going to go outside. Dawson don't want you crushed in the road somewhere, because you've got to go and run. You clean this off a little bit. And then on the seal, this is a top one, so this is the smaller of the two. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll put each gasket, I don't know if they all say what they are, but I'm going to put the marker on it and label them as I go. And I'll put Reed gasket so I can see it. Put that in there. I could probably throw the old gaskets in there, but I should clean them up first. And then we gotta find I need that next. We're gonna need the bottom and the top. And this, I don't know, I don't see what it says it is, but that's the item number for the top oil seal. And I'm going to label it. Top crank seal. And I did a, let's see here. Yeah, I did bring the grease over. I'm going to put a little grease on this. I did a seal remover. I have an old seal remover, but it destroys the seal getting them out. And it wasn't leaking. The only thing that, I don't think any gaskets were leaking on this. I don't think anything was. So this says it's 3548. I'm going to pack grease in here, and that'll keep that seal in line. Just going to use some like wheel bearing grease from my packer here. Stuff some in there. Probably not necessary. Somebody will yell at me. I've always done it. But I think some people, they've driven in a seal before and that spring fell off. And if you pull the seal back out to fix it, you broke the seal. So, glue that thing in there. And then I'm going to use a socket to drive it down in there. And this one is 1.25 inches, right? Yeah. Should be a little bigger, but this should work. Make sure she goes in kind of straight. And I want to go at least flush, probably. How's that look? Looks good for my house. A little dab of grease on there for initial startup, whatever. She looks pretty straight. Pretty straight. going anymore either. We're quitting there. And then we're going to flip her over. What do we got to do in here? There'll be the tappets and stuff when we're ready. So we're going to set this aside. Now we're going to work on the oil. There's a lot of residual in here I'm not too worried about. I'm going to run turn this down a little. I'm going to run the engine a short period and then change the oil anyway, you know. I don't know how many hours they recommend. This is 10 mil and Phillips. And I had taken this out already to inspect it because I wanted to see if there was sludge in there. This filter looks super clean, but we're going to put a new one in it. And that is this. I think this is all the parts we're going to put in there. I should have stored this upside down, let that residual run out, but I did it. And these go to the oil pump. You get new O-rings, and these are crushed pretty bad anyway. And I think I'll take this apart because we got to put a governor seal in that, and then I'll blow this all out. So there's our top crank seal. We'll put that in our box. Put our bags in there. We're done with them. And then we've got to put our oil seal in. So Phillips, common sense on them. Curve goes up for a governor. I haven't had these off yet. You can get that cover off without taking them off. Any of this stainless steel doesn't stick to your magnet. And then flat side up on the governor. See how much plays on it. There's a little. So we're going to put a new seal in. Wasn't leaking. Taro Fixes All says to put RTV sealant or silicone type sealant around it. This has got a little corrosion, and that butts up near the seal. So I'm going to put this in a brush wheel and clean this up, because we don't want any of this junk touching our new seal. Let's clean that up first. Alright, that brush wheel works pretty good. It looks nice and about new now. I didn't want the rust to be able to touch the new seal. So I didn't see the governor seal. It's probably in that gasket box package here. Let's see. Probably in this package. Because it's small. I don't want to open it yet till I have to. Yeah, right there it is. So, Tiger, come on. People don't want to listen to that any more than I do. Oh no! Tiger! I know it. It's terrible. We'll set this aside. And this is, let's see what they call this kit. A no-name kit. It's got all your small gaskets. There's our seal. And I don't see a spring retainer on this one. But I'm going to do the same thing with the grease. I think it's always a good idea. Running a dry seal on a metal part. It doesn't spin fast or nothing, but it's just going to be friction, you know. And then we're going to pop that one out. We didn't pop it out yet. Pop that one out. And it might just push out. Let's see. Let's see. I got that seal puller, but I don't think it'll go that small. It's got two different size ends on it. Oh, baby girl. That's what you sound like. Baby girl. I let you out here to explore. We have a pretty big house, and it's multi-floors, and they love running up and down the stairs. So this seal puller might rock it right out, might destroy it. And I don't know, probably destroy it, which it just did. But it got it. See that? It ripped it a little bit. Throw that in a parts box. And then, like I said, Tara wants you to use RTV on it, but this is visible. It's visible from the back of the engine. I don't want to do that now. On his new installs, he did it on a video on YouTube. And we'll blow that out. And then we'll put the new one in. And it's about a 10 millimeter. Right? That's the back side of a 10 millimeter. I can just tap it down in there. You want to hit on the outer, not the inner edge anyway. Yeah, we're back to cold weather here, so we're not ready to mow yet anyway. So the other day we had about a 70, almost a 70 degree day, and in the afternoon I had a little time. I was able to get the old Craftsman out, and that started right up. And I put the bagger on it and bagged the lawn, mowed it, got all the sticks and debris and junk, ground them up and bagged them. I think probably a 12 millimeter would fit that better on the front edge. Let's give it 12. What's that look like? Too big. 11? 11's perfect. Get her in square. I would assume it's got to be below the surface slightly. There. I like it. So then, we're done with that. Now we can zip off some of my junk here. Keep your work area clean at all times. Now we'll zip these off with that 10 mil, and we'll look at the oil pump. And see what's going on here. A little bit of friction wear there. Right on that edge a little bit. So it's driven off the cam. What can we stick in there to try it? What, tiger? But this would stay in the center and that ring would spin. And then there's no marks on it at all. It's kind of like the camshaft had no marks on it. That's good news. Dirty oil, I worry about it. And this is the way up with these drives. That's down. And this one, I don't know if it matters. Pretty tight fit in there. This, I don't think it matters. Looks the same, but I'll leave it this way up. That looks really nice too. And then inside here looks super clean. And it had this screen in there, sits in there like that. That's not a super tight fit. But it didn't have any debris in it. I thought it'd be plugged. So we're done with that one. Throw that out. Then inside the oil chamber, it looks really good. It's got a check ball. Let's see here. If I can drop it. Right here. So here's your spring. Drop a little dirt in there. So we'll blow that out. There's our spring. I believe this book has specs on the length of the spring and all this stuff, and then the clearance. So I might check that because I think I can. But we got to check, get that check ball. There it is. And it's a nice steel ball, no marks. That over here. Now, I've already done it once. There's a little tiny debris from the oil or stuff that's in here. But I want to blow every passage out, everything. Now they got the air hooked up. And we'll make sure there's no debris in there. Right, Tiger? Compressor will kick on now. Oh yeah. Just make sure all your passages are cleaned out, you know. And this one goes to the check valve. This one goes and feeds oil to the crank. Nothing come out of it, so they're clean. And then the oil, if I could block this off, would come out this little hole down here. That's all I'm going to worry about. That should be good. So now we're going to drop in our oil stream. Let's not lose this stuff. You see my marker? Here it is. They call it an oil filter, but it's an oil screen. That's a part number for that. Kawasaki. Dawson's got that Wheeler. It's a 750. And we had him out riding the other night. I got the Honda Rancher 400, and it runs good and it moves. But you get on his, and it's like twice. That 750 is huge amount of power. We always stop and do a little drag, you know. And I can get it on a takeoff. I mean, I can stay right with him, and then I don't know, he gets 30 feet or something, he's gone. So this only goes in one way, right? And this is just as sloppy as the other one. And then the clearances, I don't know if I'm that worried about them, but I think if we had marks all over these, a little grind, something, I would want to measure, but this thing looks great. Drop that in there. See how tight that is? I don't know how, I'm sure it's a measurement between the side, and there's like nothing. But if it wallowed all around, that's going to definitely cut down on oil pressure. And this, like I said, has no wear on it. And that fits in there. And I think some people have trouble putting the cam back in or something. They're putting this cover onto the cam because it's off center of the hole. It'll go in, but it'll bottom out right there. So I think if we could turn the whole unit so that it centers straight down, makes more sense to me. Like that. And leave it at that. That's centered. And it squashes oil in there, and there's your pressure. Then we got to take our cover. I don't know how to check that, but I'm not going to worry. Okay, so now we got our cover. It goes on like, get it right here, this way. No, this way. Get it right. This way. Duh. And then there's no gasket. We can't do it yet because of that, so we got to put our spring. So what I want to do is check these specs here. I think we can check the length of that spring and make sure it's within specs. I'll check that. So I found in the book here, we've got a relief valve spring free length of 20.4 millimeter. And that's a service limit. So 20.44, right? This new tool was on sale like $14 off, so this is like $23. I needed one. I broke my other one. I think it was in the toolbox and something tipped over on it because this whole gear assembly doesn't work, and it jumps and locks, and it's also a dial. So we set this, we'll zero it, we'll check our length, and it says 20.4, and this is, well, it's pretty much end of the service. 20.53, and that's 20.4 or 803. Let's see here. Let's clear this. Oops. 0. Mode. We'll do inches. And we want 0.803. We got 806. We gonna worry about that? Can I make it 803? Easy. Yeah, it's not out bad. I'm going to turn it a little bit. I'm pretty good with that. Pretty close, pretty close. Set that aside. We'll put our check ball back in. Make sure there's no debris on it. We'll put that in. Now, it does say that the pump housing inside diameter is 52.71. That would be here. And then our outer rotor thickness, that must be the outer rotor, is, that can't be right. It says 52 point, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Outer rotor thickness. Oh, let's pull that back out. Pull that back out. So this wears sideways, I guess. This way. And we are outer rotor thickness is 0.587. And we got 0.5895. I'm happy. And then with this tool, I'm not able to check. I did text Dawson, asked him to bring a bore mic home, and he didn't answer, so I don't know if I'm going to get it. Now the inner and outer rotor clearance is 0.2 millimeter, inner and outer. So 0.2 millimeter between the two. Outer rotor thickness, outer rotor diameter is 52. Should I check that? I should, because that should tell me what we got here. 52 millimeter, huh? Kind of reading them out of order. Fits really nice. Check it for 0, 0. We want 52.31. And we've got, what am I reading at? 20.59 inches. We're on inch scale. 2050. That's 2059. Let's see if it's zeroed. It is. Let's check this a couple spots. get it square. And we are, there, that's better. 20525, 2059. I'm good enough for that. And then we're going to check the mode, and we'll do millimeter, and it's outer rotor diameter 52.31, and we are 52.37, 52.25, 52.36. We're really close, guys. I'm not going to sweat it. Are you? Pretty close tolerance. Set that back in there. Set this back in there. Line it up with our circle again so that the housing will line up nice. Check ball's in there. Spring is close. And then make sure no dust on it. Set this in like this. I don't know. I'm kind of fascinated how engines actually run. They're complicated, a lot of moving parts, and you can't be off on stuff by very much, you know. The oil pressure on this, oh, it's like, I read it somewhere, 85 at the high end, and oil pressure, there it is, 43 to 85 pounds. So there's quite a variable there. So I'm not too worried about it. We'll buzz these down. Now these are the same size bolts, so I'm going to do the 52 again. If they don't give me a spec, I'm just going to use an average. I don't know, I kind of need extension, huh? We'll fit that in there. It's worse, right? Hold it still. Boy, it's not very much torque, is it? Let me look that up for sure. And that might be on this one, which is still in there, just I don't know what page. These are service limits, so now we got to go to torque. Here's our oil flow chart, which is kind of cool. We got our oil pump. When it reaches too high a pressure, it blows out past the check ball and spring, comes up into the oil filter, out of the oil filter, splits off. It goes half to the crankshaft, the other half up to the top. Yeah, it goes from the crankshaft through the crankshaft, splashes around. It looks like another tube comes out, goes down to the heads, the valves, and then that's that other port right here. And then that's a split, and then this comes up to the crankshaft here through that one. That's kind of cool. And then some of it somehow gets, yeah, to the top down here. There's a hole, right? Somewhere there, right there. And then that's pretty neat. Just want to make sure your passages are clean. This book, I'm getting a little bit dirty, these sheets. Okay, engine oil, grade. We've got, without the oil filter, 1.8 quarts. No, 1.9 quarts. When the oil filter is 2.2 quarts. Oil pressure, 43 to 85. And then the rotor clearance, we already did that. The pump housing, pump relief valve spring. Pump housing, I don't know. They should give you a torque on everything, right? Specs, valves, torque, lock agent. Let's see what that is. So, cylinder head, cylinder, rocker arm, rocker cover, valve, engine oil drain, oil pump cover plate bolts. 52 inch pounds. See? Let's just check them again. Boy, that don't seem like a lot. Sure enough. I know it, kitty. I'm gonna go let the kitty in. He'll go get a snack. Now, 52 inch-pounds on that. Now we got the governor arm that we cleaned up pretty well. Looks good. We got our new seal in. I put a little dab of grease on it. Slide that in there. That works good. And then we put our arm on. I don't know the name of this. Governor something something. And then put our 2 screws in, which are not magnetic, which is a bummer. Seems to me, not being an engineer, but common senser, I think I have a lot of common sense. The screws for something like this should have either some type of locking ring, lock washer on there. Because can you imagine if you did this, the phone rang and you stopped and you're like, yeah, what's next? And we forgot to tighten these up. One fell loose, got hit on a rod, and boom, there goes a valve, there goes something, you know. I can't imagine they doing this. That reed valve, same thing, there's nothing on that, just little baby Phillips. So, I don't know, let's torque them down a little bit. I don't know how much, not going to break it. Then that flips up. Check valves in there. Spring, yeah. We're done in here, right? The only thing we have to do is put these 2 guides with seals in. I don't know if I want to do them yet in case I move this aside because I want to work on the pistons. We'll keep these somewhere here. I better put them back in the baggie so we don't lose it. We should remember that because that's obvious. See the ring inside? There's our 2 oil chambers that go from the case to the block. So we're done in here. We're going to flip her. I already took the seal out. Clean this off. And then our new seal. We'll label this one bottom crank. And then these aren't necessary if you look up the part number. But for me, you know, if I keep all these, they fit in an envelope. I throw them in my parts somewhere, you know, book, whatever. And then I know every part I put in with a Kawasaki number, not something aftermarket. So let's put this in there. And this one, oh, this is a big boy. I don't think I have a socket that big, do I? You could probably tap on them, but I'd rather not. Put this in our parts bucket. This has that spring. Number on it is hard to read. It's letters. Where's the numbers? It's got numbers. I don't know. I want to pack some grease behind that too. Put a little in here. And you're not having dry. And then a little on this. It's raining. I was just outside. I was getting a backhoe ready. I recently put a thumb on it. A used one a friend had. And I didn't even question him. I said, I'll take it. He needed the money. And I wanted to try it, and I said, well, if it doesn't fit, I'll make a bracket, whatever. I'll make it work. And the sucker fit right on there nicely. That's probably way too much grease. I don't care. It's an oil product, so it should not hurt anything. Hang on it. Tiger, he's in the house now yelling at the door. Bad kitty. Now, what's a smart way to do this? This is way too small at 1 1/4 inches. So, I don't have a tape measure. What do I got out here? I got this caliper. Let's see here. I want to go roughly 2.3. Let's see what I can find. I might have something to fit that. Well, I got a couple spindle nuts. I got a Ford, I guess that's probably not going to work. Well, this sticks up just a little, so I don't really want a flat one. This one, can't remember. I think that also fits a Ford. But let me, yeah, that should work, right? I think so. And then if we can hit it down kind of flat, I don't know. What's this one look like? This one might actually be better if it's not too big. That might work. Easier to hit this. One end a little crooked. It's going. It's a-going. Like Christmas. Almost there. I think it's got to be, again, slightly below the surface. And I won't be able to do it with this side. Because it's a whisker big. Yeah, use your big sockets. Beat on them. Almost down. Now we're hitting the case. I think this thing was 46 bucks when I bought it. What is it? For use on 85 to current. So I had it on a 99 Super Duty. And I did the front, I think I did front wheel bearings and U-joints, the whole deal. So this thing, I got to hit on this part, which isn't very smart. But I think a little exhaust pipe, if I had one. Hear that go down? That's about where I want it. So I think I'll go down a little bit over here. You can hear the difference. A little more on this side. A little more on this side. Oh yeah. You see what there is? There's a concave portion. And if you leave it up high, that part's not touching. So I'm assuming you got to go down until you hit the flat portion. And then it looks like we're even. I'm going to leave it, I think, well, maybe a hair right on that edge. There. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it. So now, the bottom case is finished. And I think I'm going to store this upside down so any of them extra drippies in there can come out. And I'm going to blow it out one more time anyway when I'm done. We're going to line this gear up straight with the shaft down below. Not the shaft, but the opening. And the cam should go in a lot easier. Like that. We'll put this aside. Now we'll bring the block out and start working on this. And get organized. I want to get the camshaft, the crankshaft. I have to put the tappets in first. I got to remember the orders of taking things out. So we did hone the cylinders, and I don't know how well you can see that, how the light is, but we got a decent crosshatch now. Can you see that? There's no marks in the cylinders. And, you know, they're pretty close to what the spec said. I think I'll get that out. Let me get all my parts and all the paperwork ready.